The explosion rocked the room. Instinctively they ducked, then stood up slowly when they realized there was no danger. No one spoke. Silence filled the room. In that silence, the electric tone that echoed across the room sounded as loud as a gunshot. All eyes turned toward it. Vacant. Oh my god. It had come from the device mounted next to the door. The display changed from engaged to vacant. Let's see if we can open it. 7, the mountain, swallowed hard. Junpei nodded and placed his hand on the scanner panel. A red asterisk appeared on the LCD panel. The device had registered Junpei's bracelet number 5. His was not enough, however. At least 2 more people were needed. Junpei asked, "Which pair?" Ace, Lotus, you think you could give me a hand here? The pun was a little... Ace, Lotus, you think you'd give me a hand here? The pun was a little too on the noose, but the mood was still grim. Both Ace and Lotus lifted their hands silently. He verified, and she followed suit. They'd fulfilled the conditions. If they were to pull the lever on the side... Are you guys ready? I'm gonna open it. Junpei grabbed the lever and looked back over his shoulder. They stiffened and nodded. Junpei nodded back and set his mouth in a grim line. Then he slowly lowered the lever. What will they find, I wonder? Man, that's terrifying. There was a metallic groan and the door slid open. A breath of air drifted through it, carrying a stench of what nearly made them gag. Junpei grimaced and put a hand over his mouth. Oh my god. Good God! Lotus and Ace shuddered. 7 grunted. Whoa, that's pretty bad. Even Santa's voice shook. He blew up. It appeared that Santa was right. The hallway on the other side of the door was splattered with chunks of torn flesh and dark red blood. Oh, God. Ah! The shriek echoed across the room. It had come from June. Then her strength left her and she dropped. As Junpei turned to catch her, the door groaned shut. She crumpled to the floor. June, you okay? Junpei dropped to his knees and put his arm around her shoulders. That was when he noticed. They look so cute. Her whole body was feverish. She was radiating intense heat. What the hell? Where'd this fever come from? June didn't answer. Her face looked like wax and her whole body began to shake. All right, let's just rest for a minute, okay? You think you can walk? She nodded weakly. Junpei lifted June to her feet and guided her to the nearby chair. Here we go. As gently as he could, he set her down in it. How are you feeling? Are you all right? She nodded, and as she did, a single huge tear rolled down the side of her face. Why did this happen? Her voice cracked, broken by misery and grief and choked by sobs. Why did this happen? Junpei spun around. Do any of you know what the fuck is going on here? Who's Zero? What's this nonary game? Come on, anybody? Anything? What the hell is going on? What are we doing here? No one spoke. Ace, Snake, Santa, Clover, 7, and Lotus. They simply stood there, 7 pairs of downcast eyes and 7 grim lines for mouths. June's body shook with silent sobs. They slowed as the minutes ticked by, and eventually they stopped. Then suddenly, in the cold, heavy silence that had enveloped them like a thick fog, a bell began to ring. The clock in the central hall, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And then on the 10th ring it stopped. The sound of the bell faded into silence. It's 10 o'clock, then. Ace said what each of them had been thinking. That means it's been an hour since Zero's little announcement. 7's deep voice echoed across the room. Fuck! I've had enough of this crap. Santa leapt to his feet, his fist clenched. How long are we gonna pussyfoot around like this? We've only got 8 hours until the time limit Zero was going on about is up. Let's get going already. Go, go! Santa's outburst fell on deaf ears. No one seemed to agree with him. They stared back at him, their eyes blank and their faces tired. Finally, Lotus spoke. No, I refuse. I'm not going to end up like him. Him? You mean the ninth man? Of course. Who else? In the mind's eye, Junpei saw the corpse again. The dark, reddish-black pool of blood, the scattered pieces of flesh. Organs strewn across the floor like blossoming of a grotesque flower. The explosion that had torn through his body had been powerful. The ninth man's neck had been twisted at an odd angle. Junpei suspected the detonation had thrown him against the wall. Half of his face was crushed and the other half was covered in blood. Most of his abdomen had been emptied by either an explosion or gravity. He had landed on his back. Stark white ribs jutted out of his chest like the legs of some sort of macabre crab. Junpei felt something flip in his stomach. I think he just screwed up. Every eyebrows went up, and Santa continued. He probably set off some sort of trap, and that killed him. I'm not going to screw up like that. I'm getting out of here alive. Whatever Snake was laughing at, Santa did not find particularly humorous. What's so goddamn funny? Oh, my apologies. You were just so very confident. I couldn't help myself. What the fuck? I think you've mistaken the situation. Huh? The ninth man's death. It had nothing to do with the trap, or at least not the sort of trap you imagine it did. Then he broke one of Zero's rules. That was why he died. Right. You're a smart man. Quite simple if you think about it. You still don't? All right. How about you take a moment and think back to what Zero said? Specifically, what did he say about the number of people? He said only 3 or 5 people can pass through one numbered door, right? And after that? You've forgotten about the relevant part. What did Zero say? Santa furrowed his brow in thought. Junpei thought back. Zero said that only 2 people can go through, that everyone who verified had to go through. More than... probably everyone that verified. I think. All those who enter must leave, and all those who enter must contribute. Right? I think it was something like that. Whatever it was, it means that groups of less than 3 or more than 5 can't go through. That is correct. A gold star for you, Junpei. Snake inclined his head toward Junpei. The ninth man, however, broke that rule. He tried to pass through a numbered door by himself. That was why he was executed. Then Zero's watching us from somewhere, making sure we don't break any rules? Oh, I'm not sure of that. Why not? Because this execution system is entirely automatic. You didn't notice? There's no need for him to monitor us. What do you mean? Snake looked at Seven with what only could be described as pity inside. Very well. I see it must be me who tells you. I've waited long enough, I suppose. I'd hoped Zero might spare me the trouble, but that seems increasingly unlikely. He couldn't see them, of course, but perhaps Snake sensed the confused eyes upon him. When Ace spoke, he gave words to everyone else's thoughts. Do you know something? Well, I know a great many things, but yes. What is it you know? Here. Snake removed a card from the pocket of his jacket. With a flourish, he presented it to Ace, who took a close look at it and spoke. Come on now, what's the point of giving me this? Give me that! Santa snatched the card from Ace, but his expression of disgust quickly turned to one of confusion. Huh? The hell is this? Seven tugged it out of Santa's hands. Huh, I see. The card went from Seven to Lotus, from Lotus to June, and finally to Junpei. He looked at it and understood. It's in Braille. This is Braille. Braille, the written language of the blind. The card was covered with small embossed bumps. Junpei could recognize it, but he certainly couldn't read it. Sorry, guys, I can't read this. Junpei handed the card back to Snake, who nodded at him with a small smirk. Okay, that was fun. What's so important about that card? I found it in my pocket. I can only assume it's a message from Zero. From Zero? A message? What does it say? Suddenly everyone was crowding around Snake, desperate to hear what the message said. Santa especially looked as if he were about to grab hold of Snake and shake the answers out of him. Snake raised his hand. Calm down now. No need to panic. You don't need to force me, I'll read it. Junpei swallowed hard and waited for him to start. He was not the only one. Presently, Snake began to read, his voice calm. His fingers glided over the tiny bumps as he spoke. Bracelet number 2. Since you are not blessed with sight, I shall bless you, and only you, with information. I shall tell you the function of the red, of the dead, and of the bracelet. Of the red, of the dead, and of the bracelet. Okay? The red is the recognition device. It will verify your number. Beside every numbered door, you will find a red. The dead is the deactivation device. It does exactly what it says. Once you have passed through the numbered door, you must use the dead to stop the detonator in your bracelet. But perhaps you are wondering, what does this detonator detonate? I am afraid this may be something of a surprise. I have placed a small bomb inside of you and the people whom you are about to meet. You swallowed it while you were unconscious. I have no doubt that by the time you read this note, the bomb will have passed your stomach and found its way to your small intestine. In other words, you will be unable to regurgitate it. I suggest you do not try. Another reason, why 9 hours, I guess. As I mentioned before, the bracelet on your left hand contains a detonator. Think of it as a remote fuse or timer for the bomb in your body. There is only one condition which will cause it to detonate. That condition is that you enter a numbered door. Once you have done so, the timer will activate, no matter who you may be. You will have 81 seconds. If, after that time, the detonator has not been deactivated, it will send a signal to the bomb in your body instructing it to explode. In order to deactivate the detonator, every person who verified their number at the red must also verify their numbers at the dead. Once all numbers have been verified by the dead, you need only pull the lever at its side and the countdown will cease. Anyone who does not verify their number at the red will find themselves unable to verify their number at the dead. That is to say, if you should pass through a numbered door without first verifying your number at the red, in 81 seconds you will be dead. You must also keep in mind that the numbered doors will close automatically after 9 seconds have passed. So long as the door is open, the dead will not function. You would do well to remember this, because you probably have to make a fast-running sprint, I guess, at some points. Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1. You escape from the ship. 2. Your heart rate reaches 0. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship or detects that its wearer's heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically. There is no other way to remove your bracelet. If you attempt to force it off, or disable the detonator, the bomb within you will immediately explode. This is all the information which I can impart to you. How you choose to use it is for you to decide. If used wisely, you can eliminate those who might be a danger to you. For a time, you would be able to control your fate. I wish you the best of luck. Snake finished reading and carefully returned the card to his pocket. The message had been lengthy, but its meaning was clear. Only those who verified their numbers at the red could pass through the numbered doors. Teams could not increase or decrease their numbers. The reds, deads, and bracelets enforced the rules. They were the judge, jury, and executioner. In defiance of Zero's suggestions, both Santa and Seven put their fingers down their throats and began to gag. The rest stiffened. Some touched their stomachs. Some simply stared at their bracelets. Junpei gingerly touched his stomach. There was a bomb inside his body. The thought of it made him queasy. His stomach felt oddly hollow, and his legs were weak. Why had Zero designed such a ludicrous game? Junpei looked over at the others. All right, I'm going to ask one more time. Do any of you know anything about Zero? They were all silent, each person waiting to hear what the other would say. Finally, Santa spoke. Actually, I saw him. I saw Zero when I got grabbed. I didn't see his face, though. Son of a bitch was wearing some kind of gas mask. What the hell? Come on, guys, give me something. You know, like surprise or something. Instead, it was Santa who looked surprised. There was a moment of silence, and then everyone spoke at once. Yeah, I saw him too. Me too. He was wearing a gas mask. As stories were sorted out, the truth became clear. All of their stories were the same. They had been abducted at home at midnight. The person claiming to be Zero had worn a mask. There had been white smoke, then each person had passed out. When they were awoke, they had found themselves on D-deck, in a room with a 3-level bunk. Only 7's story seemed to lack the detail of the others. Oh, me? Yeah, well, mine was just like the rest of yours. That was all he had said. It had occurred to Junpei at the time that it sounded somewhat strange, but he didn't press the issue. He hadn't done so because there was something that struck him as even stranger. That was the mystery of the relationship between Snake and Clover. For some reason, they had been abducted from the same room and woken up in the same room. Junpei looked at them thoughtfully. So what's the deal with the two of you anyway? It was Clover that answered. Clearly, she felt she had nothing to hide. We're siblings. You look nothing alike. Siblings? Yes? Snake is my older brother, obviously. That means I'm his little sister. Aww. That really so hard to understand? Junpei was taken aback. The others seemed just as surprised. She is correct, of course. He laid his hand on Clover's shoulder. Are you surprised? Well, yeah, but why? There are other people here with connections to one another. Those two, for instance. Snake pointed at Junpei and June. Oh, you mean between Jumpy and me? Ah, yes. You did say you were childhood friends, didn't you? You went to school together? Yeah. June glanced at Junpei, uncomfortable with the sudden attention. Junpei felt somewhat nervous as well and tried to scratch his head as casually as possible. Hey, you think maybe we could figure out who Zero is this way? Yeah, you're right. You connect the dots between the victims and that leads you to the perp. Textbook stuff. Junpei, June, does any of this stuff ring a bell? Ring a bell. Ring a bell? They looked at one another, and like it was staged, they both tilted their head at the same time. Well, perhaps you went to school with the son of a multimillionaire. A millionaire? Son? Well, someone bought this boat and set up all of this. Whoever Zero is, they must be incredibly rich. Well, we can't be sure of that. To me, this seems as though it's the work of an organization, not an individual. Zero is most likely simply the representative of a larger group. What sort of organization? Could be a number of things. An army, perhaps, or a research group. Perhaps this is all some sort of psychological experiment. If it is, then it's a pretty fucked up experiment. Yeah, no shit. I mean, come on, a guy's dead. Ah, fuck. The word dead hung in the air, heavy and ominous. The room went quiet again. I don't know who the hell this Zero asshole is, but I know for sure he's got to be pretty fucked up in the head to do all this. If this was all one guy, then he's got some serious issues. And I need a drink. Even with the specter of death hanging over them, their discussions continued for some time. In the end, however, they learned nothing. By the time they finished, 1.5 of their 9 hours were gone. And all they had to show for it was impatience. Man, look, we only got 7.5 hours left, okay? You really sure you just want to sit around? No one was willing to argue this time. Very well, then. There's only one way for us to proceed. Sure not gonna be fun running around knowing we gotta jump when Zero says jump. When Zero says jump. Well, it's stupid to just sit around here doing nothing. Thanks to the snake's card, at least we have some idea of how this all works. Correct. And so long as we follow the rules, we should, well, will most likely be all right. But what? Who's going to go in which door? June looked toward the numbered doors. Oh yeah, that's right. We can't have any more than 5 people in one door. All 8 of us can't go in the same door. Then it would seem we have to split up. Wait! Lotus looked terrified. I'm telling you now, there's no way in hell I'm going through door number 5. Come now, don't be selfish. Call me whatever the hell you want. I'm not going in there. If I'm going to have to walk through all that blood, then I'd rather stay here. And we were doing so well. Ace shook his head sadly. Sorry, but I ain't going in there either. Someone else can go in door number 5. Oh, Santa, not you two. Hey man, I just bought these shoes. If you think I'm getting some creepy dude's blood all over him, you got another thing coming. That was the last straw. What the hell, man? Weren't you the one who kept saying we should get going? Yeah. Doesn't mean I want to go in door number 5. Oh, God. There was another awkward silence. Finally, Seven spoke. Fine. I'll go into door 5. I can't go in there alone, though. Anyone else willing to come with me? There was another long silence. This time Snake was the one to break it. I'll go. What? Don't worry, you'll be fine. We may part now, but I'm certain we'll meet again later. How do you know that? Because I do. That's not an answer. Aww. If you're going, I'm going too. I'm going into door 5. What am I going to do with you? Aww. There's nothing you have to do. Ace stepped forward. If I join you, the problem is solved, correct? 7 is 7, Snake is 2. And if you add Clover's 4 and my 1, the digital root will be 5. Oh, it works perfectly! The 4 of us can go into door 5. Wait. What about the other 4? What's their digital root going to be? Junpei did a quick mental calculation. Lotus, Santa, June, and Junpei remained. Their bracelet numbers were 8, 3, 6, and 5. What would their digit root be? It is 4, isn't it? Yeah. He repeated what he determined. It's 4. Add up our 4 bracelet numbers and the digital root is 4. Then we can go into door 4. Yeah, that worked out well. Junpei ran over the team assignments in his head one more time. 4 people will go into door 5. 7, Snake, Clover, and Ace. 4 people will go into door 4. Lotus, Santa, June, and Junpei. Junpei had to ask himself if the teams were what he really wanted. Beyond door 5 was what remained of the 9th man. He never wanted to see that thing again, but something in him said it would be unwise not to examine a corpse a little closer. Of course, if he went through door 5, he wouldn't be going with Lotus and Santa. True, it would be possible for him to bring June with him through door 5, but that would mean she would have to see the horrific carnage and waited there. Junpei didn't want that. Junpei was torn. Should he stay silent and go through door 4, or should he stop them all and insist on door 5? As he turned his options over in his mind, Ace spoke up. All right, then. Seems we've reached a conclusion. Shall we go? He began to walk toward door 5. Clover and Snake followed, with 7 a short distance behind. Junpei, which door do you want to go through? I actually have a choice. Can I save? Save? Here? Yes. Yes. Saving. Alright. Is that... No, don't quit. Fuck, now you got me curious to see it. Oh my god. Door 4 should be fine though, but... No, god damn it. I really don't want to force June to go into 5. I really don't want to do that to her. I'm curious. I'm so curious. Oh god, choices. Fuck. Fuck. Okay, well I saved, so I'll probably try the other one later. God damn. Okay. Fuck. Screw it. I'm gonna go through door 4.